dressed up in your samurai armor with nowhere to go? Here are the best games like Ghost of Tsushima. If you've been staring covetously at PS4 owners and their endless barrage of perfect black and white samurai screenshots from Ghost of Tsushima, fear not. Matt and I are here like peddlers of rare and wonderful goods to provide some honourable alternatives. A mix of games set in Shogunate Japan, as well as some titles that feel mechanically similar, even if there isn't a samurai in sight. But before we send you in the right direction with a carefully placed gust of wind, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos all about the games you love. And hit the notification bell so you never miss when an upload lands. So, in no particular order, here are 9 great games like Ghost of Tsushima you can play on PC.
On the face of it, Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun is pretty intimidating, a hardcore tactical stealth game featuring sniping, shuriken, and a distraction raccoon, and it's certainly impossible to rush. But thanks to its meticulous construction and cast of likeable characters, it manages to be more intuitive and immediate than many of the games that inspired it. And when you think about it, Shogunate Japan is the perfect setting for a tactical stealth game. It's an excuse to feature ninjas. You have the trade-off between noisy black powder weapons and stealth kills, and even the buildings themselves are a good fit with those multi-tiered roofs that lend themselves so well to sneaking and assassination. Throw in a stack of context-sensitive takedowns, and you essentially have a compelling try, fail, try again puzzle game where the ultimate solution involves flattening your enemies with a runaway cart. Stealthy.
If after playing Ghost of Tsushima or looking on in envy, you've got lost in a Wikipedia loop of samurai history, then you might have come across William Adams. Or if you've played Nioh, you'll already be well acquainted.
It seems death won't stop chasing me.
He's one of the first few Western samurai, and he just happens to be the protagonist of this wonderfully challenging Souls-alike. But that's where the history lesson ends. Because as well as exploring ancient Japan, you get a full hit of folk horror thanks to Nioh's horrifying blend of reality and mythology. The real and unreal intertwine wonderfully here, thanks to some vivid, fantastical yokai enemies that absolutely deserve every stab wound they take. There's no beautiful, sprawling world to explore here, but if you loved hacking your way from one Mongol invader to the next, then turning your attention to demons will provide a satisfying, if challenging, alternative.
Even can't speak in these lands.
Alright, I know what this looks like. Yet another list feature with The Witcher 3 wedged uncomfortably inside like a rock troll on the back seat of a tiny car.
Hey, you there! Help me! Water's getting hot! Shut it!
And while it doesn't have any connection to ancient Japan, the experience of playing The Witcher does feel strikingly similar to Ghost of Tsushima. You're still galloping around in an open world crammed with distractions. The weather effects and landscape make it feel like you're in a real reactive world, and the combat too feels familiar. Crisp, brutal swordplay with weapons that actually feel sharp. And then there's Geralt himself, a complicated loner who's as damaged as Jin, just in a totally different way. If you can look past the monsters and the magic and the high fantasy fluff, there's loads in Wild Hunt that will appeal to people looking for another experience featuring a lone swordsman in a war-ravaged world.
So Louise got so upset about not adding Assassin's Creed Odyssey to our best open world games to play in 2020 that she held a hidden blade to my throat to get it on this list. Which is pretty unfair because A, that was Matt's fault, and B, I'd have put it on here anyway. Eagle-eyed Creed fans have been happily comparing Ghost of Tsushima to Ubi's long-running franchise for good reason. History? Check. Cold-blooded murder? Check. A world with absolutely no respect for your hard drive space when it comes to screenshots. Check, check, check. The ancient Greek world of Odyssey is a perfect alternative to wandering around 13th century Japan. Running and riding across this sprawling map just never gets old. Whether you just want to take in the sights from the highest possible points, or brawl your way through Spartan camps with that 300 kick, boom! Assassin's Creed Odyssey has the intimidating ability to steal the rest of your 2020. Well, until Valhalla arrives, that is.
Many of the images you see of Ghosts of Tsushima celebrate its beauty: fields of grass, shivering in the wind, cascading cherry blossoms, striking sunsets. And while From Software's brilliant and brutal Sekiro certainly has moments that will stay with you long after you power down your PC, most of the images are things you'll want to forget. Headless ghouls lurking in the dark, vast riding snakes, and the endless repeating sight of your own death. It's set 3 centuries after Ghost of Tsushima, and you're a shinobi, not a samurai, but there is enough shared DNA here to give this a go if you're desperate for a hit of ancient Japan. Be warned though, Sekiro is one of From's toughest games, thanks to the ruthless rhythmic combat that sometimes makes Dark Souls look like a ballroom dance in an old people's home.
Good sir, you look like a shinobi, I think. Are you looking for something? Well, in any case, I found this place first. So...
Perhaps when you head back to feudal Japan, you want a little more horror with your history. Onimusha Warlords features a stack of real-life characters, such as the famously ambitious Nobunaga Oda, but also takes cues from classic Resident Evil games, providing historic exploration via fixed camera angles and weird, creepy monsters.
Humans are more tasty when angry, and I haven't eaten in a while.
It may not have the breathtaking looks of Ghost of Tsushima, but then you might not want 4K versions of these rotting creatures leaping towards you. There's puzzle solving and investigation, but combat is the heart of the game. But it's not just your honorable sword to swing. This is fantasy, remember, so you can zap and burn your way through tougher sections, or just save up magic to blast particularly annoying enemies. It's never a waste if it makes you happy. And it did.
My Lord Nobunaga Oda would welcome a great samurai like yourself.
I serve no one. My life is mine and mine alone to command.
If you fancy a stepped-back look at 16th century Japan rather than Tsushima's close-up examination of an earlier period, Total War Shogun 2 is simply essential. It's not just one of the best games set in the Shogunate, it's one of the best Total War games, period. It simplifies some of the most effective parts of previous games, providing a clean, accessible reminder of what we all love about Total War: cinematic battles, meticulous planning, and watching enemy empires crumble while yours ascends to glory. It's also the perfect period for a strategy game, with multiple warring factions in a fantastically vivid setting. Everything from the waving flags and crackling ranged weapons to the brilliantly on-brand presentation makes this feel like a prestige event. And if it was the Kurosawa link that got you interested in Ghost of Tsushima, Total War Shogun 2 is like watching the best battles from Ran on infinite repeat.
If Ghost of Tsushima has got you hankering after a Japanese holiday, Tokaido could be the answer. This beautiful board game is all about having the best time traveling across the countryside in ancient Japan. You can savor the local food, view breathtaking landscapes, and unwind in monkey-approved hot springs. You earn points for every activity, and once your 4-day stint is over, it's added up and the one with the most wins. Strategy is key here. Not quite in the daring, perilous sense of a samurai sword fight, but in making sure you see all the right sights before someone else. And like any good board game, it'll have you shouting nonsensical things at your friends. Like how dare they paint the mountain when they knew you needed it. It may look pretty minimal compared to the rolling hills Jin explores, but those cherry blossom animations soon become all you want to look at.
If the intense sword fights from Ghost of Tsushima are what you're craving, then For Honor will parry its way onto your wishlist. This believable battlefield is all about pitting yourself against, or playing as, history's greatest warriors, be they knight, Viking, or in the case of this list, samurai. But there are no button-mashing attacks here. Everything you do has to be careful, considered, and based on what your opponent is doing. It takes time to master, but that just makes it feel all the more satisfying when you finally do land a killing blow. You can hone your skills in a story-driven campaign, then, when you're feeling brave enough, take your hardened battle prowess online in scintillating PvP scraps. Whether you're fighting against an army of people or shield to shield in a one-on-one fight, landing that final blow will make you feel like a true warrior, or a true punching bag in period armor, depending on how it all goes. So those were the best titles to play if you're looking for games on PC like Ghost of Tsushima. Do you have a favourite game set in ancient Japan? If so, let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. And please remember to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss when another video lands.